I think the dollar's fate will be determined in the United States by threats to the Fed, exploding public debts, questions about the rule of law, and weakening alliances with partners who hold and use our currency because they trust us. So ultimately,
Right.
it is our currency, our problem. I don't think I stole it from Ken. I think Ken took it from John Connolly, Richard Nixon's Treasury
Right.
Secretary.
No one knows who Richard Nixon is, Barry. I'm sorry. It's too ancient literature. So if it's my book of the summer and say Alicia Levine went to me and she said to me, I need a book for my brats to read. I mean, why should a 22-year-old kid, after Golden Fetters and all your other work, why should they read Money Beyond Borders?
Because there is a longer history. The book goes back, gulp, 2,500 years to the advent of coinage, to the cross-border use of Greek and Roman coins, to the use of the coins of the Byzantine Empire all around the Mediterranean into Asia. There's a longer history we can learn from.
Barry, last 4 weeks, the markets had to adjust to a different macroeconomic outlook, perhaps as it relates to energy, given what's going on in the Mideast. How does that factor into your economic outlook, whether it means higher inflation, maybe slower growth resulting from some of this geopolitics? How do you factor that in, or do you look past it?
Well, the one reassuring observation is that dollar's safe haven status has kind of mildly reasserted itself. In the first 2 days of the month after the war broke out at the end of February, the dollar jumped up by more than it has in any 2-day period in a year. That's reassuring. On the other hand, I worry about more chatter around the Fed, more criticism of the Fed coming from the White House, and that threats to the independence of the central bank becoming a factor again.
As we get to the summer, Barry, I want to get you in for a calmer conversation. We've got huge breaking news right now. But one final question to synthesize your decades of ownership of our international economics with what we see at the Fed and the rhetoric of the President of the United States. Let's say Nick Burns or even Secretary Rubio could get you in for a cup of coffee with a president. How would you advise President Trump?
Well, I think President Trump's advisors understand the point that respecting the independence of the Fed is one of the foundation stones of the dollar's global role. They have to convince their principal of the point, and I think that's the hard part.
Barry Eichengreen, one final question. This headline just coming out, which spans the history of Eichengreen. The President of the United States waives the Jones Act in bid to curb high fuel prices. The Jones Act is going to take forever to have effect, right?
Right. Many of the things that have been suggested to bring oil prices back down will take many months at a minimum to have any visible effect. So I think a lot of this is posturing, if you will, but that's what's available.